Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video I am very excited because we are gonna be building this template here that was made by Harpreet. And thank you very much Harpreet for submitting your layout, your template. It is very well done. It's a very beautiful template actually. And I will be using HTML, CSS and some JavaScript, actually jQuery for to build this step by step, and my idea is to explain in detail the techniques that I'll be using, and I hope you enjoy this coding section. So I'm gonna close this right now. And also it's very nice that the Harpreet made this document here with details. So it's Harpreet Singh Mangera. Thank you very much again. And this is a supermarket website, a simple page, and we are gonna be doing this in a couple of several parts. So probably six or seven parts, because again, I don't want to make these videos to be super long, and I like to explain why we are using a certain combinations of codes, and I like to show to my students and for those watching the videos the logic behind what we are building. Okay, so the idea is that you can follow coding with me. You can click the pause button if necessary, then you're gonna code together, and you see the results in your computer as well. Okay, so try to understand. I'm gonna try to explain, and then if you have questions, just let in the comments below and I will reply very quickly. So here we have this document. It's very nice, very well done from him, and we can see in detail what he is expecting from the document. So this is very cool, and let's start. As you can see, so for today's video, we are going to be doing only the initial setup, and I will build only the structure. The structure I'm gonna show you in a second. So for today's video, my idea is that we build a temporary placeholder for the header. This is gonna be the next video, by the way. A temporary footer. This is going to be probably the last video, or maybe I'm gonna let the last video for the animations. And then today we're going to build only the sections separation. I'm going to show you how I like to structure my HTML and CSS for the sections, and also the section titles. So let's go and start. Here, as you can see, I have a basic HTML with the Google fonts already selected, and the link for CSS. No worries, I'm gonna let the link or the name or the details for you in the comment in the description of this video. So also for the CSS, I already have here the code for the X code for the colors I'm using, and also I established the font families in different classes. I'm gonna show you how we can use this later to experiment different font families, but probably also gonna do the same for the colors. And then you can choose the approach that you prefer to be applying background colors. You're gonna see this later. I'm not gonna use SAS, just using CSS. I wanna keep it simple. So let's go. To start, I want to do my basic reset, which is margin 0, padding 0, and the box sizing is border box. Then I also going to establish a couple of other stuff, but let's do it later. I want to start with actually doing the basic skeleton or structure for the website. So for this project, I am gonna have the header as a header placeholder. This is gonna be the main area where we have the sections, and then the footer as a footer. in just a placeholder for the moment. If you go back to the project right there, you're gonna see that the area of the navigation bar is sharing its space with this big banner. And I'm planning to make some animations, very cool stuff here with this later. But the thing is, most of times I prefer to use the header only with the navigation bar. And this is because, especially in websites with multiple pages, and this is because probably the other pages, let's say the page contact, it's probably not using the same banner or the same banner style. And for this reason, I prefer do not have this header or navigation area and consider the banner as the whole header. I like to use banner as a first section of the website, but we are going to discuss this in detail in the next video when we are going to actually build the header. For today, let's gonna concentrate in the sections area. And here I'm gonna build this first deal section, the shoes section, so I'm gonna call this advantages section, and then the fresh selling fruits section, which I'm gonna call this section products. And then, so let's go. I can't wait to finish, to build this with you. Let's go. And first thing I'm going to do here is that I'm going to tell you is that I like to separate this kind of global style area from my actual layout. Oops, sorry for that. From my layout space here. So here I'll be building the layout itself, and in the layouts part, I'm gonna use for header and footer, and because they are just temporary, I'm going to increase the size here. They're just temporary. I'm gonna do just a background tomato and a color to be white, and the padding will be 30 pixels, a text align center, and let's say a font size will be maybe 40 pixels. And this is gonna give me a placeholder. Then for the main area, for now, I will keep it temporarily a border so we can see the area where the main is placed. So 10 pixels, solid, and let's say cyan. Let's take a look how it seems. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm actually gonna change this for maybe, oops, orange or magenta. So yeah, not the best choice. Again, a blue. Blue is gonna be a good contrast. Yeah, so as you can see here, I have the header and the footer, and then I have the main area where I'm going to place my sections. So the next step we can do is section elements. So for my section elements, as you know, we have 3 sections in the main area of the website. I'm gonna put here the deal section, and this will be a deal. I'm gonna do the same for the advantages. And this will be the products section. Let's gonna save and take a look on it, as you can see here. But we have a problem because the content of each section is very close one to the other. And the way that I like to do to create this vertical spacing between the section content, it's applying padding on top and on the bottom on each of my sections, and keeping the same amount of padding to keep it consistent. And because this is a global characteristic, I'm gonna put this here. And by the way, I'm also going to apply in the body probably Poppins is the font family we're gonna use the most. So one thing that I like to do is applying a font family to the body, but for this it's important to analyze your template and check what is the font family that we're using the most. Of course, you can also establish in the typography block here the font family necessary for each element. So for my section, I'm gonna give a padding top and bottom 80 pixels, and let's say 30 pixels on the sides, or even 60 pixels on the sides. And for the moment, I'm also going to include some border of 5 pixels solid and red, so we can see where each section is located. As you can see here, I have the section deal, advantages, and products. So just for the moment, the section products, for example, I'm going to apply a background which is going to be temporarily light gray. It's just to show you, and we can this is going to be advantages. And the background light gray. We can see, without needing the borders, we can see the separation of them. Okay, so but we still have a problem in here as well. If you see in the template, you're gonna check that the products and the elements they are inside a contained area. And this is because if you check this website in a very large screen, you don't want your content to be occupying, let's say. You don't want your content going from the extreme left from your screen to the extreme right of your screen. So you want these elements in here to be in a kind of contained area, which is what we're going to do. So imagine this here is your container, and I literally use the class container for that. And this container here can also be used to the next section, since they have kind of the same limited area to be placed. Here you have still maybe difficult to see in the screen right now, but you still have the image arriving there. And then the same for the next one. Right there. So we're gonna have, of course, here as well for the footer and for the header the same, and even for the navigation bar. So we have this container, which is the element I'm gonna build right now. So the logic is pretty simple. Inside each of the sections, we're gonna place our div container. And here you can have your content, which will be actually your title and your content. Now just gonna copy and paste for the other two. So now we have the section, and what is the section doing for the layout? The section is going to be important to apply a different background color if this is your case, or even a background image if this is your case. For our layout, this is basically not happening because they have all the same background color. But the section is important to create this vertical spacing between each section, and of course also to separate the parts of your website or the topics of your website. So this is the section talking about deal, the one talking about advantages, and of course the one talking about the products. Then we have the div container inside each section, which is basically just limiting the size or limiting the width that your content can go. And then we're gonna also use the container to center this content on the page. I'm gonna show you in a second. And because the container is a class that I'm gonna reuse multiple times, I like to place it here in the very beginning of my code. So as you can see, organization in your CSS is extremely important. And well, this is gonna help you yourself to be working in your code, but also the colleagues that will be working with you. So I like to place my tags in the very beginning, and then I'm gonna place here, for example, reusable classes and components. So for the container, we are gonna use a max width, let's say 1000 pixels. I'm eventually gonna change this for 1140. And let's place a border in here because I want to show you where it is. And for the moment, we have this here. As you can see, the container is aligned to the left, but we don't want it. Imagine you look in this website in a super wide screen. So you don't want to have the content of your website in the left part. You want it in the center, no matter what is the size of your screen. So to fix this is very simple. We just need to apply a margin on the left to be auto and the margin right auto. I could make the same using margin 0 auto or even margin auto, but I don't like the idea to establish margin on top and on the bottom. I know I'm not going to have the risk of collapsing margins, but I just prefer not taking this risk. If for any reason in the future, let's say another person is working in your project and for any reason applying margin bottom and top, and it causes a collapse in margins, that's not a risk that is interesting to take. So here we have this, and as you're gonna see, my container is gonna go to the center of the page. So now let's just remove these red borders and even the blue border, and I'll just let these container borders really like to be using. You're gonna notice that during our videos. I like to use borders to help visualizing where the elements are. And here, temporarily, I let this light gray background to create this contrast, and you can see where exactly each section ends and starts. So we're gonna go, and for the moment I will remove this border from here, not even needing the main for the moment, and also the border for the sections. Okay, that's what we have so far. And now let's analyze the template one more time. So here we have very clearly, and I'm going to remove these borders as well. Container, the other container. And here we have one component, one element that repeats multiple times, which is the section title. As you can see here, we have this deal of the day, and then we have the short paragraph, a short description in the first section. Then you have a couple, some space here, and then the content, let's say the most important content in there. And then we have the section title as well, and the content is here, which, by the way, this has 50% here, 50% there, or close near 50%. We're gonna talk about this when I build this section. And then we have again the same section title and the section content. So this is the standard for these three sections, and it happens in a lot of projects that you have this section title having, let's say, a title, subtitle, sometimes title and paragraph, stuff like that. So this is a component that it's repeating multiple times. So you're not going to make one CSS code for each. This is not necessary. Of course, you can have multiple and different approaches on how you're going to do this, but ideally you're going to be using this with the minimum CSS necessary. I like to use the H2 element to be making these section titles, And this is a typical paragraph. As you can see, the paragraph used in here is the same size and font family that you use there, and in the other paragraphs as well. Well, at least it seems. I'm gonna see the documentation from Harpreet. But for the moment, let's just consider this as a regular H2 and a regular paragraph. So you could, of course, be here and say that H2 is going to be a specific font size, which I guess is 60 pixels, and then you're going to have this font weight regular, so 400, and the font family will be a Playfair display. I took a look in the documentation before. Or another option is that you consider this as a reusable element. So you can have, for example, a section title, which you're going to do this in the code soon, very soon. And then you're going to say the section title and the H2 will have the same characteristics. So let's do first the HTML, and I'm going to explain what I'm trying to say. So here I like to separate section title, which we have H2. I'm going to say this is title. In the paragraph, this is just a short paragraph. That's it. So we can separate in section title, and still inside the container. Here is still the container area. So this is the end of container, right? So it's still inside the container area. I can have the section content. Let's say section content. Then here I can say content comes here, right? So this is a very well organized way to make your project. It doesn't mean you have to do this way if you're working with a static website. However, if you're planning to make this in WordPress, let's say in the future, and you're gonna give the possibility to the client, to the user, to change, to remove this paragraph, or even to add new stuff, it's a good idea to consider this inside a block, because you're going to make the distance between this block and this block based on its div, right? So in other videos, we're going to have the opportunity to talk more about WordPress for sure. But for the moment, I consider this block as a section title and here as a section content. And basically, I'm just gonna copy and paste one more time and one more time. The indentation here didn't work very well. Let's say, oh, I forgot to put the div here, the container div, yeah. So container div, then that's correct. Okay, so this looks fine right now. So this is the typical structure for this section and this one as well. And no worries, because I know this section is going to have a complete different layout. We are going to be working on this section in the video number 3 or video number 4. And then the first one is like this. Just want to show you in a very simplified manner how I like to structure first, to position my elements first, and then I work inside the elements once they have their portion defined and separated. So I'm gonna save here, not this one, but here. And yeah, then we have, this is title, this is a short paragraph, and the content comes here. Well, what we can do now, and I want to show you what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do, is pretty simple. And the section title, not section title H2, but in the section title, I'm going to apply a border of 5 pixels solid blue. And in the section content, which is temporary code, I'm going to apply a border of 5 pixels solid red. And as you can see here, I have a very clear separation between the title and the content. And what we want to do is, for example, a margin bottom to separate the section title from the section content. And as you can see, it doesn't matter how much or how much of content I put inside my section. The sections are increasing their height accordingly. So we're never gonna have problems in the vertical spacing. Now, we're also gonna see that this section title here has the text aligned to the center. And this one here is aligned to the left. This one here is aligned to the center. So the natural behavior of text in HTML CSS is to be aligned to the left. So I'm not going to change the natural behavior. What I have here is an exception, which will be the centered one. The exception because this is going against, let's say, the natural positioning of the text. So my way to work on this is planning a center section title for those sections that have, so section title space center. You can use multiple classes to the same object, to the same element. And here we're going to put center again, because only, and if you check here, only the section deal and the section for the products, they have the text aligned to the center. This one here is going to be aligned to the left. And by the way, check the links in the description to, if you want to go directly to the other videos in which I'll be working. Probably each section I will be making a different and separate videos because I want to apply animations and a lot of stuff. So a single video would be super long. Actually, this one is becoming super long as well. So when the section title also has class center, and this is why they are put here together, it is text align center, which we can see happening right now. So first section, it's aligned to the center, and the last one as well, but not this one. And of course, as I said, this entire block here will be concentrated here on the right, and then I'm going to put an image in the left. So let's continue. One more thing we're going to notice is that we have part of the text in red color and bold. Actually, I think this is the 900 font weight, which is black. So we are going to do this right now. So for this purpose, and again, oh, sorry, I forgot to explain something. You can let the H2 in like a general style here, but if you're planning to use H2 in other places in your website, which are not a section title, then I suggest you to make dot section title is space H2. For the moment, I think this is going to be enough. So if you have a piece of your text that has a different style, you can work using two different approaches, and I'm going to show you right now. Let's just check here what is the text for the first section. He put this in right here. Get exciting deals every day with Harpreet Supermarket. And by the way, the font size is 20 pixels. I'm not sure if all the paragraphs are using 20 pixels. I'm going to check this later. So this is a good moment to show you what I'm trying to say. So let's say that the paragraphs are generally 18 pixels or font size. I'm going to use a line height. I'm just going to use pixels here to make it faster. I don't want to calculate EMs or other units. And also, let's say that they have a margin bottom and the font family as well, but I'm gonna do it later. So let's say that in general, the paragraphs are 18 pixels. However, the paragraphs in a section title is a little bit bigger. So if this is the case, you're just going to do section content. Paragraphs will be font size 20 pixels. So all the paragraphs in the website are 18 pixels, but the paragraph in a section title, it's title, are 20 pixels. And I'm going to position this here later. Let me just first copy this there. And this is going to be deal of the day. Deal of the day. And then the paragraph. And let's just fix the CSS for a moment. Section title paragraph. And because the paragraphs comes after, I just place it accordingly. I like to keep my CSS in the same order that elements appear in the HTML. So the paragraphs will be using Poppins font family. So I can actually keep here that all paragraphs are using this font family, so I don't need to establish this information again one more time there, because this is a general for all the paragraphs. And this is going to be more specific. All the paragraphs inside a section title element, we're going to have font size 20 pixels. So it doesn't matter if here the paragraph is appearing later on the CSS code, because this is more specific. So this is going to, let's say, this is going to win in comparison with this one in terms of font size. So as I was saying, we can apply the deal in a different style. You could use the EM here, okay? But the EM has other purposes other than just give a different style. We're gonna talk about this in another moment. But for now, we can just use the most simple way, which is just a span. This is going to allow me applying a different style for this word specifically. So remember to put the span inside the H2, open and close inside the H2. So now you can apply a different color for the span, and this is not any span, it is not for all the spans in your website. Do not select this way to apply the color red. You're gonna specify that the span, all the spans inside an H2, and if you wanna go more specific, you're gonna say section title is space H2 is space span will be this color and this font weight, which in our case will be a color red. And this is the code for it. And a font weight will be 900. Let's see the result. Where is it? Where is it? Here. This is what we have, deal of the day, and this is the text. Okay, I'm just gonna change for the real content here. So this will be why shows us. So the name Y is inside a span. And the paragraph is crave. And all this done. And then fresh selling fruit for the last section. And the paragraph says all of that text. Let's go just paste here. And one more thing before we finish. I think that will be nice to have this section content. Don't know what's wrong with my mouse, it's just jumping away. But section content will be a background, and let's say light yellow maybe, just temporarily. Remove the borders. And of course, I almost forgot, the name fresh is inside the span to get the same style. take a look. Yeah, that's what we have so far. The background yellow is almost invisible. I'm just going to apply maybe a salmon. Okay, so I guess this is good. Let me just remove also the border here and the borders from the container so we can have a better look in the final result. That's nice. So of course this is not done, this is not finished. I just wanted to show you how I like to be working whenever I prefer doing the whole structure first. So here I can work in my content right now because it's going to have one card on the left, another card on the right. So I can just focus in working on the cards and not worrying about the surroundings, about what is around. And then the same thing here, which this one is going to be a little bit more, I'm going to need to rebuild this a little bit more. And then in the last one, going to be the same, but instead I'm going to have 3 cards in there. So once we arrive to work in this section, it's just going to be much easier to just worry about the cards style. I'm not going to need to worry about the things around. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a big pleasure to be building you one more time. Thank you very much, Harpreet. And if you have questions, just let the comment below, and feedback is very welcome. Please subscribe to the channel and you're going to receive notification whenever I launch a new video. Thank you very much. See you next time.